I want you to imagine finding an ordinary penny in a jar of loose change. It looks like countless other Lincoln cents that have passed through American hands for decades. But what if that tiny coin could be worth far more than 1 cent? What if a simple detail, or what seems like the absence of one, has caused collectors to search through millions of pennies for years? Today, we're uncovering the story behind the 1990 Lincoln penny with no mint mark, a coin that often creates excitement, confusion, and sometimes expensive mistakes. To understand why this coin gets so much attention, we first need to know what it actually is. The 1990 Lincoln cent was part of the regular circulation coins produced by the United States Mint. Millions upon millions were struck and released into everyday commerce. At first glance, nothing seems unusual about them. They feature Abraham Lincoln on the front and the Lincoln Memorial on the back, just like many pennies made during that era. Yet one question keeps appearing among collectors and people searching their pocket change. Why do some 1990 pennies have no mint mark at all? Is that a rare error? Could it be valuable? The answer is both simpler and more interesting than many people expect. Let's travel back to 1990. The United States Mint was producing Lincoln cents at several facilities. The Philadelphia Mint and the Denver Mint were the primary locations making pennies for circulation. Pennies struck in Denver carried a small D mint mark below the date. Meanwhile, pennies produced in Philadelphia generally carried no mint mark at all. That means a 1990 Lincoln cent without a mint mark was not automatically an error. In fact, most Philadelphia cents from that year were intentionally made without one. For many decades, Philadelphia pennies simply did not display a mint mark, making them completely normal and expected. This historical detail is important because countless people discover a 1990 penny with no mint mark and immediately assume they have found a rare treasure. The reality is that most examples are common circulation coins worth only a few cents. But as with many coin stories, there is more beneath the surface. The Lincoln cent itself has a long and fascinating history. The design first appeared in 1909 to honor the 100th anniversary of Abraham Lincoln's birth. It became the first regularly circulating American coin to feature a real person rather than a symbolic figure. By 1990, the design had already been familiar to Americans for generations. On the front, Lincoln faces right, accompanied by the words, "In God we trust, liberty," and the date. On the reverse, the Lincoln Memorial stands proudly in the center. One remarkable detail many people never notice is that Lincoln appears twice on the coin. Most people easily spot his portrait on the front. But if you look closely at the reverse, a tiny image of Lincoln can be seen sitting inside the memorial. It's one of the smallest depictions of the same person appearing on both sides of a U.S. coin. The 1990 penny was also part of an important period in the coin's composition history. Earlier Lincoln cents had been made mostly of copper. Rising metal prices eventually made that too expensive. Beginning in 1982, the mint switched to a new composition consisting primarily of zinc with a thin copper coating. As a result, the typical 1990 Lincoln cent weighs about 2.5 grams and contains mostly zinc beneath its copper-colored surface. This change reduced production costs while maintaining the familiar appearance Americans expected. Now let's talk about the feature that creates so much confusion: the missing mint mark. For the standard Philadelphia issue, the absence of a mint mark is completely normal. If your 1990 penny has no mint mark and looks like an ordinary circulation coin, chances are it was simply struck in Philadelphia. However, collectors often hear stories about rare, no mint mark coins from other years and assume the same rule applies here. Some famous Lincoln cents with missing mint marks are genuinely rare because they resulted from minting mistakes. These error coins can be worth hundreds or even thousands of dollars. The 1990 penny is different. The ordinary Philadelphia version was intentionally made without a mint mark. Therefore, the lack of a mint mark alone does not make the coin rare. So why do some 1990 pennies still attract collector interest? The answer lies in condition, varieties, and genuine mint errors. Coin collectors know that rarity is not always about age. Sometimes condition is everything. Think about how pennies are treated. They get tossed into jars, dropped onto sidewalks, carried in pockets, and passed from person to person for years. Most become scratched, worn, stained, or damaged. Finding a 1990 Lincoln cent that looks nearly perfect is much harder than finding a worn example. Coins graded at the highest levels by professional grading services can command surprisingly strong prices. While an average circulated 1990 no-mint mark penny may be worth only face value, an exceptional uncirculated example with outstanding color and preservation can sell for significantly more. Collectors pay premiums for coins that appear almost exactly as they did when they left the mint. Then there are error coins. Minting errors occur when something goes wrong during production. Examples include off-center strikes, double strikes, planchet errors, die cracks, and double designs. A genuine 1990 penny with a significant mint error can be far more valuable than a normal example. In these cases, it is not the missing mint mark that creates value. Instead, it is the unusual production mistake. Some error specimens have sold for dozens or even hundreds of dollars depending on the severity and visibility of the error. Collectors are especially interested in errors that are dramatic and easy to see without magnification. Now let's discuss some real-world value examples. An ordinary circulated 1990 Philadelphia penny without a mint mark is generally worth only 1 cent, although collectors may pay a few cents for nice examples. Uncirculated coins in attractive condition can sell for several dollars. Better preserved specimens may bring even higher amounts, especially if professionally graded. Top condition examples certified by major grading companies have achieved prices ranging from tens of dollars to well over $100 depending on grade, eye appeal, and market demand. Meanwhile, genuine error coins can vary dramatically. Minor errors might sell for modest amounts, while dramatic examples can attract intense bidding from specialized collectors. This difference is one reason coin collecting remains so exciting. 2 pennies from the same year can look nearly identical to an untrained eye, yet one may be worth only a cent while another could be worth many times more. Of course, whenever money enters the picture, misinformation follows. The internet is full of claims that every 1990 penny without a mint mark is rare or worth thousands of dollars. These stories spread quickly because people naturally hope they have discovered hidden treasure. In reality, most such claims are exaggerated. That's why knowing how to identify a genuine collectible example is so important. First, examine the date carefully. Make sure the coin actually reads 1990. Second, check for signs of damage. Scratches, corrosion, dents, and cleaning can significantly reduce collector value. Third, look for unusual characteristics that suggest a legitimate mint error. These should appear as part of the original manufacturing process, not as damage that occurred later. Fourth, consider the coin's overall condition. Sharp details, original color, and minimal wear are all positive signs. If a coin appears especially unusual or valuable, professional authentication may be worthwhile. Experienced grading services can determine whether a coin is genuine, identify any errors, and assign a condition grade. This step becomes especially important because altered coins exist. Some people attempt to modify coins in order to imitate rare varieties. They may remove details, alter dates, or create artificial damage designed to resemble mint errors. Professional examination helps separate genuine discoveries from altered pieces. Now for a few fun facts that make the 1990 Lincoln cent even more interesting. The United States Mint produced billions of pennies in 1990. If you stack them one on top of another, the tower would stretch an astonishing distance into the sky. Despite being one of the most common denominations, pennies often generate some of the biggest collecting excitement. Many legendary coin discoveries involve cents rather than gold or silver coins. Another surprising fact is that countless people ignore pennies entirely. They leave them in take-a-penny trays, drop them into jars, or forget them in drawers. Yet those same pennies are often the first coins new collectors search because they are affordable and widely available. The 1990 Lincoln cent also represents a transitional era in American coinage. It belongs to the zinc core generation that followed the copper cents of earlier decades. For future historians, these coins help tell the story of changing economic conditions and minting technology. So why do collectors continue to love this coin today? Part of the appeal comes from accessibility. Almost anyone can search for one. You don't need a large budget or a rare dealer connection. A 1990 penny might appear in old collections, bank rolls, coin jars, or forgotten containers of change. Another reason is the thrill of possibility. Collectors know that while most examples are common, there is always a chance of finding a superb uncirculated specimen or an authentic mint error. That possibility keeps people looking. The coin also serves as an educational gateway. Many collectors begin with Lincoln cents because the series spans more than a century of American history. Along the way, they learn about mint marks, production methods, grading, and famous coin varieties. The 1990 no-mint mark penny perfectly illustrates an important lesson in numismatics. A coin's value is not determined by rumors. It comes from understanding history, rarity, condition, and authenticity. So the next time you spot a 1990 Lincoln penny without a mint mark, don't rush to assume you've found a fortune. Instead, take a closer look. Learn its story. Examine its condition. Search for genuine errors. Appreciate the history held within that small copper-colored disc. Because sometimes the most fascinating part of coin collecting is not the value itself. It's the journey of discovery. And who knows? The next penny waiting in a forgotten jar or tucked away in an old drawer might reveal a detail that most people would never notice. A tiny clue, a hidden rarity, or a remarkable story preserved in metal for decades. That's the magic of coin collecting. Every coin has a story. Every date has a history. And sometimes the most ordinary-looking penny can send collectors on a search that lasts for years.